Every Nigerian or every African is a storyteller. You can call a 5-year-old girl or boy and say, tell me a story, and he will tell you a story and embellish it with such visuals and all that. So, you know, it's part of the way of life here. So it's very unique.
It's like close to 30 movies every week. 30 movies. It's the market.
Of a very Nigerian phenomenon. I don't know the count. Chico said it's shot up to 40, 50 films. But I think it's up to 100. It's scared to say he's shot more than that, so that people won't say, hey, hello, is it a bakery?
This is called Blind Love, Daybreak, Touch of Evil. There are so many, I don't know. This is called Cry for Justice. I've forgotten this story.
Other directors laugh at Chico, but Chico's films have endured. He's done the good, he's done the bad, and he's done the nastiest of films.
I went to cinema a lot. I would sneak out, I went look for money, it means stealing, I did that. I can do action movies. That's the most difficult kind of movies to make.
Tell the president.
It involves a lot, even your life. I ride occasion where I lay on the car bonnet with my camera under the car on high speed. I'm a survivor, I can survive anywhere. This is the most challenging project I ever embarked on.
We are about to make a history. We say I thank God for I belong to this production.
About 700 cast in this production. Extras, you have to deal with the entire community.
That's not how the production is supposed to be.
Actually, this is how production should be.
If you want American filmmakers to lose their jobs, import some Nigerians. And I will shoot films in New York in 10 days because everything is working.
Hey! Who object?
Nollywood today is the largest film industry in Africa and one of the highest producing film industry in the world after Bollywood. According to a survey carried out by the UNESCO Institute for Statistics, Nollywood has even taken over from America's Hollywood with regards to the production of films per year, which is approximately more than 2,000 films per year. Compared to Hollywood, the average Nigerian producer can easily produce a good standard film with only $100,000 or less. With the increasing production of Nigerian films per year, one would question the quality of work produced, therefore prompting the question, Nollywood to Hollywood, are we there yet? The first celluloid movies was introduced to Nigeria at the beginning of the 20th century by colonial Britain. Before the introduction of cinemas and home videos in the late 30s and 40s, Nigeria experienced success with regards to the popular travelling theatre along the Yoruba cultural tradition. Yoruba-speaking artists travelled around the country with performances that combined music, dance, acrobatics and drama. This tradition flourished in the 80s and provided a platform where genuine storytelling about indigenous traditions and aspirations. The first Nigerian actor to feature in a full-length movie was Orlando Martins, who starred in a movie called Sanders of the River, which was partly shot in Nigeria in 1935. The first Nigerian home video, Ekun, was produced by the late Alade Orura in 1987. Fast forward to the 90s, a young graduate called Kenneth Nebuwa was so desperate to produce a movie after a series of rejection. This resulted in the production of the film Living in Bondage. The movie was subtitled in English and became an instant hit when it was released on the market on the 12th of September 1992. And with that was born the phenomenon that became known as Nollywood. Osofia in London. This is one of the most successful video films in Nigeria. Its first public screening in front of 2,000 people in Lagos brought in more money than The Lord of the Rings on the day of its simultaneous release in the cinemas of Nairobi. Following the screening, some 300,000 to 400,000 VHS cassettes and VCDs were in circulation. Even with impressive statistics, directing, excellent sets and props, great editing, Osofia in London was filmed on a very low budget. Parts of the film looked clumsy with some obvious filming mistakes. Certain scenes within the film were shot with minimal rehearsal time due to time constraints. With very restrictive budgets, each day counts, so no time can be wasted. A 90-minute feature film can be filmed in just 3 days. Even the famous Tunde Kalani only had 20 days to film the prolific film The Campus Queen. The terminology Nollywood was derived from the words nothing would, when a couple of film experts from America visited Nigeria in 1995 and deemed the Nigerian film industry production as trash. This inferior view of the Nigerian industry is still evident today.
People have not even heard of Nigeria, yeah? Okay, there we go. Some people haven't heard of Nigeria. So when you talk about Nigeria and then its film industry, I think the trouble is in many ways there's still a derogatory global perception that everyone in Africa lives in a mud hut and that it's just AIDS and famine, and that's the sort of concept that people have. But actually, Africa is home to some of the biggest growing cities. Lagos, which is one of the big cities in Nigeria, will be a super city by 2020. So
Lagos is in OPEC also, so it's one of the...
It's huge and it's growing and it's bustling and it's thriving and it's consumer driven as well. But yeah, so firstly we have to explain to some people where Nigeria is. Then when you say, well, it has a thriving movie industry, which in terms of output is the second largest in the world.
However,
quality films. We have
there
cinemas
is
now.
hope.
We didn't have that before. Our films are being screened in cinemas, So, I mean, it's just, the future just looks really bright and interesting for Nollywood and African cinema. It's great.
Directors such as Kunle Afolayan is waving the Nigerian flag by directing, writing and producing feature-length films that showcase the abundant talents in the Nigerian film industry.
The world, and I want my work to compete with the likes of Quentin Tarantino, Spielberg and the rest of them.
You listen to me! You'll do as you're bloody well told!
I want to be seen as Kunle Afolayan, a filmmaker, not being tagged or, being seen as someone who only operates within, my territory.
I think I know the killer.
The Nigerian film industry is slowly receiving international attention, with many of the top actresses being interviewed by reputable news networks such as CNN and Al Jazeera.
Men adore her. Women want to be just like her. Tonight's connector of the day is a household name in Nigeria, a screen diva who's enchanted Africa and is now stepping into the global spotlight. Max Foster gets us connected.
One of the industry's biggest names is Genevieve Naji, often called the Angelina Jolie of Nigeria. Genevieve is one of Nollywood's golden girls. Having started her career in soap operas, it didn't take long for Naji to take over the silver screen.
The most impressive creation to date, which has crossed over to the international market, even showing at the Toronto Film Festival, is Half of a Yellow Sun, which featured top Hollywood actor Chiwetel Ejiofor and The Pursuit of Happiness actress Tandy Newton. In terms of future improvements, I feel the government needs to play an important part by providing financial and regulatory support. In addition, creating international standard training institutions which will help develop the future directors, producers, and scriptwriters of tomorrow. This is me, Titilayo Raji, trying to attain the necessary skills and abilities to ensure that when I move back to Nigeria, I too will be able to make a positive contribution to the Nigerian film industry. Although I am slightly concerned that I too might fall into the pressure of delivering quantity rather than quality.